Hey, Borinia. How y'all doing? It is Sunday. And I am free of 2 of my classes. Officially. Which means I have more time to stream. More time to be whatever the hell I am. But anyway, Halloween is over. We gave lollipops to all the trick-or-treaters. We still have a bunch of lollipops remaining. And I even yoinked like a good amount of butterscotch lollipops for myself. And I have like some cream soda ones remaining. You know, that I took from the container. But I mostly have just a bunch of butterscotch flavor. And pretty much everyone took the blue raspberry, which my brother was very sad about. Which honestly, I'm gonna be perfectly honest with y'all. I don't know if I like blue raspberry. I mean, it's a popular flavor for a reason. But it's not really... I don't think I've really had blue raspberry. Or at least blue raspberry flavor. For the dum-dums. I just know what I like. And that is butterscotch, because it's one of the few flavors that doesn't have, like, red dye 40 in them that I know I like. And for anyone wondering, yes, I have a red dye 40 allergy. I know, very tragic of me. To like certain flavors like cherry. And yet I can't really have them because it makes my stomach hurt. And for... Oh no indeed. Hello Kitty Kai, how you doing? But ice, well, it's banned now, so you should be out of most things by next year, I think. Wait, it's banned now? Did they just ban it? Okay, FDA. Okay, according to an article from January 15th, 2025, the FDA is revoking the authorization for the use of FD&C Red Number 3 as a matter of law based on the Deloitte clause of the Federal Food, Drug, and Cosmetic Act. The FDA is amending its food color additive regulations to no longer allow for use of FD&C Red Number 3 in food and ingested drugs in response to the 2022 color additive petition. Phased out by the end of 2026. Yeah. Okay, BBC. So, okay, 6 remaining synthetic dyes. Has green number 3, red dye number 40, yellow number 5, yellow number 6, and blue number 1 and blue number 2 will be removed from the food supply by the end of next year. Sorry for being a stinky liar. I don't think I'm allergic to petroleum jelly specifically. It's just that red dye 40 specifically irritates my mouth and my stomach. It gives me a stubby ache. I feel like that's one of the only good things that happened in this current chaos so far. It took a very long time. Stomach aches, the enemy of hot girls everywhere. Hot girl tummy problems. Also, hello, Shadow. But yeah, I have one of my butterscotch lollipops. And I'm gonna open this up. I'm actually gonna lock this layer, which is basically just allowing it to know where the feet are gonna go. And I think the first character of these that I am going to design is going to be Blossom, because I have an idea for that. Also, god dang it, Shadow. Oh, it hasn't been... God dang it. At least I don't have to do this later. But yeah, I also forgot to do this thing because I was kind of miserable from the COVID shot. Keep track of your health. Yeah. Alright. 3. Also, hello, Edis. Yeah. I'm glad that got things. You put a sandwich in the microwave for a minute and the cheese still hasn't melted. Ooh. So, the first character I'm gonna do is Blossom, which I'm gonna rename that to Gesture. And I need to redo the Nightbot message because Kick W and Meow are not working. And those are These are what they're meant to look like. I forgot to put W on all caps. And there's also a please and stuff. I don't really see it on my chat overlay. I probably need to, like, do that. Actually, no. I think I need to... Yeah. Oh! Magnus playing with the toy! Actually... Hello? Oh. I forgot that I... had that, like that. I forgot I put it on alpha lock. Art time, yeah. Oh, I forgot to take my Adderall. I should probably do that. And I'm taking my quick release Adderall specifically because I still have a bunch of it. Also, because I only have like... $30 Vyvanse. But, yeah. I should actually, grab, Fennel's reference sheet. So that I know how to, like, design some of the characters. But, yeah. Yeah, the first thing I'm doing here is that I am going to be drawing Blossom. Who is one of Fennel's sisters. She is the second eldest, and she is the older twin of Leaf. And like some time ago, I started playing Infinity Nikki again, so I decided to kind of like make a concept of what I feel like Blossom would look like. You know, given the limitations of Infinity Nikki, I can't really change her body type. But, yeah. Thank you for the lurkies. I hope you enjoy your lurkies. But yeah, I kind of wanted to make Blossom look significantly different from her brother. Because one, her brother is, you know, trans, and he's been medically transitioning for a few years. And two, I wanted to kind of like make sure that even though they are twins, I want to make sure they, you know, look unique from each other, so you can't really confuse them for each other. And that's partially why Blossom here has blue hair. It's so that she looks way more different from, you know, her brother. She actually started dyeing her hair back when her brother was, you know, socially transitioning because he was too young to transition medically. So essentially before Leaf started testosterone, Blossom would start dyeing her hair with the approval of their parents, by the way. And she'd basically, like, have her hair be, like, various ridiculous colors. And that was just so that people would know, like, even though Leaf was socially transitioned, like started dressing more masculine, cutting his hair more masculine, him and his sister still had relatively similar body types. So, Blossom decided to, you know, have her hair long and also dye it in bright colors that are very different to, you know, Leaf's hair, as a way to kind of like solidify the difference between them. Of course, Leaf has now been medically transitioning for the past few years. He actually started his medical transition when, sometime after Patchley graduated from high school, and wouldn't really encounter him in a way where they'd have to, like, be in very close proximity. But yeah. So I believe this can be about where her legs go. Actually, hold on. have all of that selected, and I'm gonna move that over. To here. I'm gonna relock the foot line. And I think I'm gonna do something like this. You know, kinda like this. I know the anatomy is going to look pretty wonky, but rest assured these are going to be covered with pants. So, I also went to Picrew and made this, which is kind of like a concept to have, like how her hair will probably look. But this is probably just going to be like what her general appearance looks like. So, I'm starting with Blossom for kind of a reason. And that's because of the fact that she is the second eldest of the family. And, you know, I want to make sure she looks different enough from her brother that they, you know, won't be confused for each other unless someone does it on purpose. In that case, they get throttled, usually by Blossom. I'm going to be giving the Pappenheim family a lot of like similar traits. Like, you know, this little nose bump I kind of like gave to Fennel to like give his side profile a little more of a unique look. Also, as are starting in about a minute. And yeah. So to kind of like describe Blossom, from what I recall about writing her, she is kind of like the more mischievous sibling. Like, she often, like, starts up shenanigans. Kind of like to inconvenience her older brother, Fennel. Unfortunately, sometimes it makes him go crazy. Like, during the very first investigation, Patchouli has to pull. It's caused pretty much exclusively by Blossom. Who proceeds to get snitched on by her own sisters. Like, I think it's the youngest or second youngest. So either Lisa or Shauna are the ones who snitch on their big sister. Actually, I think I might add more differences with these two. But as I've started, so I'm just gonna not bother. But yeah. Basically, Blossom is the mischievous older sister. So, to describe Fennel's little sisters, Blossom, the mischievous one, Shauna, the one who likes rats, and Lisa, soup. She just likes soup. And of course, Leaf is the little brother who's on Miss Busterbone. Yes, I know it's testosterone, I just wanted to say it very funny. Yeah, I'm gonna wait for Ed to end before I continue working on Blossom. I still need to work on Keaton and Vanessa. But I think I'm gonna start consuming my butterscotch lollipop. But yeah. Welcome back from end, everyone. Now let's continue drawing Blossom. I forgot to do her arms. Just moving her arms. Real quick. Maybe I should grab Fennel. The Fennel's, you know, outfits from his outfit sheet. And just pop him in here so that I, have a reference of scale. For all this family. I'm just gonna draw one of the arms. Like one of the hands. I don't feel like drawing two. At least right now. Or hold on. Alright. Yeah, once I'm done sketching out a Blossom, I'll take a break. And then I'll probably start doing Leaf. Alright. 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 And the boots and the shoes. Wawa. Yes, indeed, Wawa. Actually, I'm gonna redraw this but... Just give me a moment. Okay, there we go. Yes, hello Fun4. How are you? I hope you're doing well. Doing okay? Always good. Anyway. I'm finishing up this sketch of my character Blossom, one of Fennel's many siblings. The eldest of his 3 sisters, and the second eldest overall. But yeah. This is his mischievous little sister who likes to pull shenanigans. Usually involving a site called Wumbler, which is basically just Tumblr. This was a word swapped out. And yes, I am specifically doing, you know, certain aspects of the character design in very specific ways, so I can purposefully omit certain details, because I just don't want to bother drawing shoelaces. I just don't. I don't want to do them. But anyway, that is Blossom. I'm actually gonna plop a little bit of color. You know. Let's go to the Patchulate's Revenge color palette. Grab Fennel skin tone. And I'm gonna start blocking out all of the colors. And I feel like doing something kind of special with Shauna. I'm probably going to make her like wear something rat themed. But of course that's going to involve me doing a bunch of research on certain things. Yeah, they're all gonna have relatively they're all gonna have brown eyes. Let me go to the additional color set. Actually, hold on. I think I'm gonna grab this color. So for now. Now I'm gonna make that her hair color. Also, I feel like something I can do to like differentiate. You shall be AFK. Yeah. Go ahead and do your AFK. And thank you for the lurkies. The lurkies help very much. But yeah. I feel like one of the ways I can kind of like differentiate Blossom and Leaf a little more, because they were born identical twins. And Leaf eventually realized that he was a dude. And so started transitioning both socially and once he turned 16, medically. So I feel like something that I can probably do in terms of like trying to differentiate the two a little more is giving Leaf, you know, kind of like some certain modifications to his body, like piercings. And please note that because he is like what? Freshly 18. When the story takes place, I am not going to have him have like some super extreme body mods. I'm probably just gonna give him like a few piercings here and there. And, you know, that's kind of like... I feel like, I actually am kind of basing the way that Blossom modifies aspects of her body in order to differentiate herself from her brother. Based off of the twins that are in my life. My cousins. I'm basing it off of my cousins, who are actually 18 years old. So they're like the same age as Leaf and Blossom. But that's kind of like the most inspiration I really took from them. And I like to mention that they do not know anything about this creation of mine. But I am visiting them later this month. You know, for Thanksgiving. So, yeah. give Blossom kind of like blue tones. Make it kind of like muted. Because I want to make sure she looks different enough from her. I want to make sure that they all like look somewhat different from each other, but still keep certain traits that will make the viewer go, "Oh, these are the people in the same family." My drawing skills have grown. But to be fair, this is kind of like just a sketch. This is not like the final product. And also, it's just Blossom right now. I have yet to draw the parents. But yeah. I'm gonna do this for... Actually, that's way too similar. I'm gonna do this for her jacket. And, yeah. Filling out the color. And this is the Blossom. Let me just add the rest of this to her shoes. But yeah. I'm gonna add this. And I think I might add a little bit of the green in Fennel's design. Probably like this one. So I kind of tie her back to her older brother. You know, a little bit. But that is Blossom. And I am going to do my intermission so that I don't completely burn myself out. So I'll be back in about 5 or so minutes. I'm back. And my stylus fell onto the floor. This happens at least once a stream. At least once every single time I do a drawing stream, I accidentally cause my stylus to drop onto the ground. But anyway, it's leaf time. A wild scale is streaming. Hello, Rayso! How are you? I hope you're doing well. It's November. Also, I'm gonna move those like secrets because those were specifically for Blossom. And I am going to start sketching out the brother. I think I'm gonna have him facing his sister. Tired as fuck. I'm doing well. We're about an hour into stream. And, two of my classes have ended. So now I just have 3 classes to, go through until, early December. Which is pretty good for me, because that means I can start streaming on Mondays. Of course, I'm still dedicating 4 days a week to doing assignments. It's just that last time, like, for the past, like, 10 weeks, I had, a class on Tuesdays. So I didn't have a lot of time to like stream. You always work into my streaming time, so you're here less. And I understand that. My going live time is usually when a bunch of people in my time zone are kind of like working. So I perfectly understand if you can't stay here for long. Not my time zone though. Yeah. Anyway, Deltarune jump scare. I should probably add more Deltarune songs into my stream playlist. Just to like mess with people. Hold on, it was going bang 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 on my door. It was you! Maggie. Emu. Can you say hi to chat? They all love you. They love you as much as I do. You said your highs.
Okay, I'll put you back on the bed.
Sorry, Magda's just being a little silly. Yeah. Okay, Halloween went well. I'm in the US time zone. Yeah, I'm in the Eastern. I'm in Eastern time. Luckily, daylight savings happened. And now I am back to. I had an extra hour of sleepies. It's going to take the cats time to adjust, though. Also, something I kind of like doing, like that I started doing a few days ago, is that I started writing a script on, like, how to draw a cracky pair of boobs. So last week I went, let's see, here you are in the EU, yeah. But yeah. I'm actually gonna make him a little taller. Than his sister. Because I feel like it would be kind of funny if, you know, I made them different heights due to Leaf being on testosterone. I probably need to elongate, get the legs on Blossom. She looks a little awkward. Aw, poor Maggie. She's crying. What is it? Hold on, I think she wants my attention. Oh, she wants to leave.
Okay, don't get attacked by the bed monster.
And she gallops away like a horse. So the cat who gallops more often is Sabrina. Who right now is sleeping. Have you ever seen me in pictures? I think I posted several selfies of myself in my Discord. I don't really do it that often. Simply due to the fact that I you know, am a relatively faceless streamer. I usually cover my face with my phone if I ever like to take selfies. However, So, like, during the first week of my classes, there was usually for my, because I, do a lot of virtual classes, I usually have to do a discussion post introducing myself. So does, like, every other person in the class. And usually they require you to take a picture of yourself. Here's the thing, though. They do not clarify for you to show your face. Oh, funny, that was in September 24. Yeah, that was when I posted my fit for when I was visiting the theater to watch Transformers. There's one. But I actually do have a more recent photo. Of course, some of my other... Some of my more recent pictures I took of myself are, of course, from when I was trying to take pictures of my curl so that I could, have them as reference. But, hold on, let me just... So, this is from this year. Yeah, that was close to 2026. Yeah, but this is like a more recent photo that I took around like September this year. Behold, it's me. And yes, I know I am relatively wide. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I purposefully covered my face with my giant Jetfire figurine. Just for the class introduction? No, it's not a thing to show you. To show you another one. Yeah, I'm gonna kind of show it anyway, because it's kind of like, it's just funny. I just think it's kind of funny that I, chose to cover my face with a Transformers figurine. Which is like the size of a cat. This is not a joke. I actually, when I got home from the convention I went to, I took some pictures of, all the things I got. And I grabbed one of my cats, my eldest cat, Mr. Meow Meow. And I specifically took I kind of like realized, oh shit, this figurine is literally about as long as this cat. Mr. Meow Meow, yeah. That's one of his nicknames. His actual name is Mao. And one time when my dad and I were like taking him to the vet, like a year or two ago. Also, thank you, Harumi, for the hydrate. But, yeah, so for context, my family has been going to this specific vet for all of our cats for like 30 years. So we've been there for a while. The specific veterinarian who was there was relatively new. And therefore didn't really know our family. And he didn't really know about our cat Mao. And he was just like, did Did you name your cat after... Like, he thought we named our cat after Hermao Zedong, one of the former leaders of, you know, China. And, I mean, just like, I doubt that a black toddler in 2006 or something would know about the former Chinese dictator. He's just named that because that's how he meows. Very much toddler logic. I guess the friendly Chinese dictator neighbor. Yeah. Luckily, my dad clarified and it was just like, no, we did not name him. And after that, he was named by a toddler who named him after the way he meows. Also, update on that cat. He's 17. That's right. Hey, meow pokes. The oldest cat in this house is 17 years old. Now, seriously, why the oldest cat race in the is the actually, I actually know what it's the Mao. M-A-U. Yeah. I believe cats have always had, like, in a lot of places, religious significance, and I feel like it's because they're, like, very good pest control. And also because they're very cute. Didn't know which way it was written? Well, now you know. I mean, I just imagine. I think I saw this post on, like, Tumblr, where I saw it in a PM Seymour video. And it was just like, random Egyptian person seeing a cat for the first time. And what is your name? And the cat goes, meow. And the person is just like, alright, your name is Mao. We're going to call your entire species that. I believe they were like some of the very first domesticated cats. And of course, they probably also showed up in like the Fertile Crescent, maybe? Cats kind of domesticated themselves, yeah. It was kind of like a mutual benefit for, like, you know, the humans and cats. Because, you know, for the cats, they had a reliable source of food in mice, and sometimes fish given to them by the humans. They had a reliable place for shelter, because, you know, humans would probably started, you know, making specific, like, little places for the cats to, you know, spend time away from the elements in order to kind of keep them there. And they also had company and humans. And especially for, like, mama cats, they had, like, a safe place to, like, give birth and stuff. That's why oftentimes if you have, like, a very friendly stray cat, it's very likely that they are pregnant, and they know that if they are very friendly to a human, they're gonna have a safe place for their kittens to be. And, like, a safe place to give birth and stuff. Cat distribution system, as it may be called, yes. Luckily, I have not been chosen by the cat distribution system in a while. Because, you know, for those who do not know this about my family, we currently have a total of 8 cats. The last time we were chosen by the cat distribution system was 2021. And that was when we kind of, like, took in silver. Eight? Yes. It's kind of like the amount of cats we've had for, like, the past few years. And back in 2020, for like a few months, we actually had 10. Because that was when we took in the mama cat Wrinkle and her daughter Magda. And Wrinkle was pregnant. She gave birth to 4 kittens on September 23rd, 2020. And I was literally in class when that happened. It was like around the beginning of the school semester. And it was back when we had to have like all Zoom classes. I'm just glad it wasn't my senior year because I can't imagine having so little time to do my senior project. But yeah, my teacher actually remembers pretty vividly me typing into the Zoom call, those little chat box, like, hey, one of my cats is giving birth right now. And she was just like, what? But yeah, several of my classmates and my teachers, including my Japanese teacher, you know, my sensei, they all got to see newborn kittens. Yeah. P.O. Boy teach. I gotta go birth with me happening in the background. Yeah. Pretty much. Yeah, oi. He teach. Yeah. But I think for me, the thing I kind of like typed in the chat was like, Miss teacher, my cat's giving birth right now. And this was like the first class of the day. Like, first period. And wanna know something else? It was the birthday of one of my classmates as well. So she shared her 17th birthday. Or what? Wait, no, I think it was her 16th birthday. Yeah, it was her 16th birthday. Because she's like younger than me. So she shared her 16th birthday with the birth of several cats of her classmate. You know? I actually messaged her recently on Instagram because I still have Instagram and I still follow her. And I sent her like an update of, you know, the one cat we still have from the cat litter. And I basically just told her, anyway, one of the cats that was born on the same day that you turned 16 is really big now. Her paw is like half the size of my hand. And I called with the current employer when you weren't working there yet. And because you were very close to the train tracks, there was a diesel one that had the motor breakdown, screeching halt, and that was fun. Ooh. How far were you from the train? Hopefully you weren't like on the tracks, like on the tracks. They asked if you were okay and if they needed to call the police. Okay, good. At least they made sure you were okay. Other side of the road from the house? Oh, okay. Yes, I also have my commissions at like 35% off. Thank you, Nightbot, for reminding everyone in the chat. It's just when they screech, it's very, very loud. Oh god, I can't imagine having that happen frequently, like, at my house. I'd have to, like, constantly have hearing protection on me. Luckily, I live in the suburbs. Oh, fuck. Yeah, jail. Hold on, I'll type the answer. Kitty jail it is. Luckily, I have a custom emote that I made specifically for this purpose. But anyway, I'm gonna save. Imagine that, but very close. Ooh. Oof. But anyway. And your bedroom is facing the tracks? Oh my god. Yikes. Anyway, we have about half a minute until the ads are over. Once those are done, I'll continue drawing. Oh, you hear me and see no ads? Oh, I see. I just didn't know. I usually assume that there's at least one person who is seeing these ads. And I usually try to stop everything that I'm currently doing and wait until the ads end before I return back to my, whatever I'm doing, so that nobody feels left out. Anyway, thank you, SaryBot, for informing everyone that the ads are over. But anyway, I'm going to actually purposefully make Leaf here look a lot like his brother. Actually, I think I might give him a bit of a hooked nose. Kind of like make him look a little more visually distinct from his sister. Also, I might give that hooked nose to the mom, Vanessa. Yeah, I'm purposefully going to give like certain traits of Fennel to his family. And of course I'm going to give other traits to his other siblings. Kind of like try and figure out like what traits come from the mom, what traits come from the dad. Or if just like his dad's genes are just like, I surrender! And they all end up looking a lot like their mom. How about both face and no fingers? No face and fingers? Nah, they kind of need the face in because of like the fact that I'm making this a visual, like you need to learn how to type correctly. But I actually think, like, I'm gonna design his siblings in a way that kind of like look like him. I'm gonna, of course, give some of them, like, I'm gonna give most of them, you know, his two lower eyelashes. I kind of like have here. You know how to type correctly. Typing can be pretty hard. But I think I'm going to give Leaf here some piercings. Not like too many, probably just some on his ears. Maybe like some, maybe like a nose ring. You know, something. But yeah, I'm actually gonna make, you know, I might make Leaf look a lot like his, you know, brother. But doesn't my tail get bigger every time you join my stream? It's actually pretty big already. It's just that it tends to sway left or right all the time. And, like, if I move around more, it kind of starts wiggling. Let's time this half. Yeah. It's just that basically the tail is like pretty much like half the length of my body. No, but it was my tail. Maybe it was just your eyes. Also, hold on. I need to make sure I do that. Yeah, sometimes the tail can look pretty darn big. Sorry about that. That was my dad bringing Magda back into my room. Also, I probably need to start doing some more, like, commission types on VGen. Like, that, or I need to reduce my prices on some of my, you know, some of the prices on my commission types, because they're pretty expensive. What? Pregnant? You weren't listening completely. No, I don't think I was saying something about pregnancy. I was saying something about reducing the prices of my commissions, or like adding different types of commissions that are a little cheaper. Prices, yeah. Okay, Yeah. I'll go back to the details. I'm actually gonna try and make Leaf look a little different from his brother. I'm gonna give them like the same part. But Leaf here is gonna have slightly shorter hair. And different, you know, bangs. Compared to his brother. They're going to look relatively similar, yet they're also not going to look the same. But yeah, something that I might like do for like my commissions is that I think I'll give him a bit of a little beauty mark. Like below there. Kinda like to make him look sort of similar-ish. Yeah, I feel like one commission type that I might do to kind of like have something that's a little more affordable for most people is like have one that is like basically talk to me. It kind of like goes like this. Basically, you it's kind of like a sketch, or like a line, or like line art with like a base color, or just like one solid color. And basically, the person commissioning me is to kind of like, one, give me references for like their favorite character, and then the next thing they have to do is they have to write about why they like this character. Like, what about this character compels them to like enjoy them. Like, what traits about that character do they like? Or like, has this character made a significant impact in your life? So basically, they get to explain why they like a specific character, and they also get a drawing in from me. And I get to learn why certain characters are enjoyed by people. And like what traits can make a character likable. Or sometimes it might be something different, like they like this character because it made them discover something about themselves, like this character made me realize I am like this or that, or like this character helped me come out to my family as XYZ, this character helped me realize I have a medical condition of some kind, or just Because I don't have much reason to like this character. Like, this character hasn't, like, majorly impacted my life in any way, shape, or form. I just really like them. And because I think they're cool. And I'll probably make that, like, $15, $20. It was something, like, different from, you know, the prices of my usual stuff, which is, like, when not on sale, about, like, $50-something. And I'd like to mention that I originally wanted to make my commissions cheaper, but my mom was just like, you're underselling yourself. But that has led to me not really getting any commission so far. Probably due to, you know, the price. I feel like you recently found out that fishnets they had in Naruto were meant to be chainmail? Oh. That's interesting. Maybe it kind of like got a little bit lost in translation, like in the art. Yeah, it kind of makes sense that it would be chainmail and not fishnet. But anyway, I'm going to probably like make a like general gesture for what, you know, where certain things would go. Yeah, unironically enough, I haven't really made much progress so far. Like, at least one character has been designed. But I think I'm gonna start adding some color to at least the face. But I'm gonna go here. And I'm gonna at least color the face and the hair. So that is, you know, out of the way. I probably should have, like, done some more research on stuff for, you know, the characters here. Like, references for what they would probably wear and stuff. Actually, hold on. I think I'm gonna give him like a... Yeah, I think I'm gonna give him like a colored streak of hair. I like to connect him a little more to his sister. But yeah. like wide-legged pants. And of course, give him pockets. I'm not gonna do anything like too significant. You know, to like I'm probably just gonna make him look sort of basic-ish, like somewhat academic. But also give him like evidence of him, you know, trying to express himself somewhat differently. Like him trying to assert his individuality. Because I feel like that would be a thing, like, for identical twins to do. Like, they try to, like, if they're able to, they try to do whatever they can in order to make sure that they don't get confused for the other twin. Like, you know, dyeing their hair a different color, getting piercings. But sometimes they still get confused for each other. And I know this because despite me knowing them for like pretty much their entire lives, my twin cousins, I still confuse them for each other since I don't really see them all that often. In fact, I actually have both of their phone numbers. But I only have one of them saved, I think. But I do know that one of my cousins is like an artist. I actually am subscribed to their YouTube channel. And they actually did Art Fight. You know, this year. Which, I've never done Art Fight in my life. I'm just going to say this now. I've never done Art Fight. I don't even know how it works. Like, I don't think I've ever been to the site either. You know, for Art Fight. Do you save? Yeah. Luckily I have, like, I have a 100 point redeem that is for like saving my progress. I might make it, you know, a little cheaper, like have it be at like 50. You know, 50 points. So that people can remind me to save my progress. Yeah. It's getting close to the second intermission of the stream. I'm gonna very quickly do a bunch of the color. You know, over here. Eventually, I am going to, like, add some more aspects to... Eventually, I'll finalize these designs and probably post the sheet onto, you know, the Discord. I'm gonna temporarily give him this color of pants. Simply because I don't know if I want to change it to like a black color. Or like off black color. I see you have found Deltarune. It's okay. It's okay. It's kind of. I put it. I have that as a redeem for a reason. And the reason is because it's funny. No. It's okay. I put it there because it's funny. Actually, I need to eventually start playing Deltarune. Because, you know... Chapters 3 and 4 came out several months ago. I eventually need to get to playing it. I remember playing the demo like many years ago. Like back before I even graduated from high school. In fact, it influenced me enough to give a nickname to my itty bitty kitty. The nickname of Little Sponge. Yeah, I'm just gonna give him a plain black t-shirt for now. But anyway, we're now at the halfway point. Both of them are brothers. They're brother and sister. So, basically, Leaf is trans. He started transitioning when he was pretty young, like socially, and so I call this impossible. Yeah. They were born identical twins. Yeah, transition. So yeah, Leaf realized he was a guy, and he was fortunately very supported by his entire family. So first he transitioned socially, and then once he turned 16, he started taking testosterone. And now he looks pretty different to his sister, her Blossom, who is this character. She even dyed her hair, so her and her brother would be a little more different from each other. But yeah. I know I need to draw his shoes, but I need to use the bathroom and stuff, so I'll be back in a few minutes. Alright, I'm back from my escapades. And it took a while. Sorry about that. But yeah. Just un momento. So I think I'm just gonna give Leaf some basic looking shoes. Like something very basic. And yeah. And that. And then I'll just make his shoes solid black. And that is gonna be Leaf. So, I know I probably shouldn't be spending so much time, you know, adding color to them, but, And now I think I'm gonna do the mother. Let's do that. And so for context about Vanessa, Vanessa is a lawyer. She deals in legal stuff. I'm probably gonna give her the, you know, blonde hair that, you know, all of Fennel and his siblings have. Yeah, after she had Lisa, her husband, Keaton, basically ended up deciding on his own that he should probably get a vasectomy so they don't accidentally have another child. This happened when Fennel was like in his like he was approaching teenagehood. Of course, they wanted to avoid accidentally parentifying in Fennel. Unless he was, being fairly compensated. Because that is, a big belief of, Fennel's household, I think, would be like, if you're going to do work in this household, you're going to be compensated properly. And that means money, for the most part, or usually. Depending on the child. In the case of, for the younger siblings, they put most of the money they give for chores in a savings account so that whenever they, start living on their own, or whenever they are old enough to be financially responsible, they have a bit of starting capital to make decisions on their own. And of course, they always are given a small amount of cash for spending money. Because for, in the belief of Vanessa specifically, she's like, it's always good to have at least a small amount of cash on hand, just in case. And of course, the amount of cash she gives compared to the amount she puts in a savings account, and for each of her children, of course, varies depending on the age of the child. For someone like Lisa, most of the money goes into the savings account, and Lisa gets a small amount of cash in order to purchase stuff for herself. And of course, Vanessa prides herself on having her children be financially literate. Or at least somewhat savvy with their money. So she tries to teach all of her children how to be financially responsible. Because she, had to basically learn a lot of, financial literacy on her own. She kind of had to learn the hard way on how to save for her own money. And she doesn't want her children to go through that. So she basically, wants her children to have as much of an advantage when they are, kind of starting out life as adults as they can. So she pretty much, like, as soon as they are born, basically, she sets up their bank accounts that when she feels that she has taught them enough about financial literacy in order for them to make their own financial decisions, she gives them access to their own debit cards. She doesn't allow her kids to have credit cards until they are, adults. And sometimes, in the case of, Shauna, for example, they have prepaid debit cards, and Vanessa allocates a certain amount of money every month to those cards. And she basically tells each of her kids, you can always save this money for later bigger purchases in your life. Basically, for example, with, Lisa doesn't have as much money that she spends compared to, Blossom and Leaf, because she is 9 or 10 years old at the time of the story taking place. And because of that, she doesn't have as much spending money to spend. But Vanessa always makes sure that her kids, for some time this also includes Fennel, but if she ever purposefully adds money to Fennel's accounts, it's usually because she asked him to look after his baby sisters for a night or something, or she asked him to buy something for dinner on his way home from work. And of course she is fully aware that he is, very much disabled. In fact, I think Keaton is probably going to be the one he inherits the disability from. And I feel like Vanessa would probably be who they gain the neurodivergence is from a little more blatantly. Because Vanessa is very particular about certain things. She always, she likes to have things in a certain order. And of course, she knows that is usually just a her thing, but she accidentally passes it down to her kids. And therefore, the kids end up getting aspects of her autism. But yeah. Basically, due to the experiences that Vanessa had as, a young adult, she knows how important it is to have money, or at least have any form of money, especially cash. So she always makes sure that all of her children, have some form of, cash on her. I mean, no, cash on them. And, she kind of bases it off of, what sort of things they usually would ask money for, if based on, their age and stuff. Like for, Blossom and Leaf, it's mostly like, money for certain things like, taxi. Like, money for taxis. Or the like. Or like fun money to like go to an arcade. And for character, someone like Shauna, it's usually like money for her to like go to the pet store and get stuff for the rats. Like to get a snack at school, like, that sort of stuff. Like go to the convenience store. Or to get something to eat and drink before they, head home from school. That sort of stuff. And of course, she knows that for Fennel, because of his disability, she's just like, I don't care that he is in his 20s, he is still my son. I'm going to make sure that I am able to have him, live at home with me. Especially for when he has flare-ups. And that's also why, Keaton is a stay-at-home dad. He is basically too disabled to really work. At a job for a long period of time because of his flare-ups getting pretty bad. Like, he regularly needs mobility aids and stuff. But, yeah. That is basically, how Vanessa feels like when it comes to helping her children become financially responsible. She does what she can, basically. guys have started, I'm just gonna quickly finish this arm. Anyway, I believe that is pretty much done in terms of the body. I'll add the details after the ads have finished. But yeah, later I'll do the rest of Fennel's siblings and, you know, his dad. But first, a lollipop. About a minute and a half left. Waiting for ads to be over. And welcome back, everybody. Let me just... do that. And then details time. Mhm. But yeah. This is what I shall be doing until it's done. Anyway. Straight leg in terms of the pants. And I'll do loafers. Mm. Anyway. And adding pockets, because those are important. Anyway. Adding the color now. I actually might add a little bit of gray into her. No. change her eyes? Maybe? I'm not fully sure. Actually, I'm just gonna make it all black. Yeah, just the same color. And then that. And here we go. I'm gonna add that. And here we go. That is the mother. Ah, I bit my tongue. So that is Vanessa. I'm gonna add that. There's like one lip and piercing. Like add a little bit of interest to her. But yeah. Surprisingly, Vanessa didn't take that long for me to kind of design. I gotta stretch my legs a little bit. Drink some water. 'Cause I should probably do that. There we go. Let's save. And Vanessa's done. I think I might tackle Keaton last. Because there's some research I want to do. So I'm gonna do Shauna. Anyway. I'm gonna have her be like but yeah. So Shauna is about, you know, in puberty. So she's about like 13, like 12 or 13. Yeah. Yeah. Shauna is kind of like the timid little sister. Because she's like trying to figure out who she is a little bit. Because she's, you know, approaching her teenage years. And she wants to figure out who she is and who she wants to be. You know. As she grows up. At first, her mother is very encouraging of her. Kind of like try and, you know, figure out who she wants to be. She still kind of like has some doubts about what she wants to be. But she does know that she likes rats. Yeah, for Rashana here, I'm gonna kind of like give her kind of like wider eyes. Because she is, you know, a child. And just kind of like giving her eyes a little more of a rounded appearance to signify like innocence and all that. And she's kind of like looking away. She is a little shy. Yeah. Once I finish up her face and stuff, I'm gonna run out. And once I return from ads, I'll finish up Shauna. And maybe I'm gonna do like I'll probably end it with Lisa. You know, to kind of like end it off. I'm gonna give her the same, similar beauty mark placement to her mom. I think I'm gonna give her a short. You know, mid-calf of socks. But yeah. Eventually I might, like, give her, like, Vans to wear or something. I don't know. But, yeah. But this is Shauna. Let me just briefly pop in some of the colors. And then here. But yeah. Let's finish this up in time for ads. Yeah. I'll add the color to the rest of her outfit later. First, I just gotta start on ads, so I will be back in a few minutes. I'm back. I don't know how long I'll continue to be live for, or as of right now. I know I'm probably gonna be live for a little longer. But I'm feeling a little iffy. And my lab yesterday was canceled. So I kind of have to do that this week. So I think I'll try and finish up Shauna. And probably like try and do Issa as well. I think I'll tackle Keaton another day. Yeah. Because, you know, I want to do something a little different with, you know, Keaton. Yeah, probably like later tonight I'm gonna export some of the things I have, you know, on my computer to Ellipsis. Because I'm gonna be away for Thanksgiving weekend. I think it would make a little bit of sense if I, like, prepare beforehand and do certain things before I have to go up to visit them. You know, my cousins, all the way up north. But, yeah. I think that's what I'm gonna do after today. And probably after I stream tomorrow, which, by the way, is gonna be Tales of Berseria. I'm gonna try and continue more on the story. yeah. Now I'm gonna finish off the stream with Lisa. Who's gonna look pretty skinny. Because she is, you know, a child. Her metabolism goes burr. But she is, like, 9 years old. And she likes soup. She is very hydrated for she loves her soup. But yeah. This is Lisa. But I think I'm just gonna do something like this. I'm just not gonna bother drawing hands for her. Hold on. And then... hold on. I forgot to draw her ear. And her hairline. But yeah. I'm actually gonna make her a little bigger. And stuff. But yeah. I'm gonna give her a little missing tooth because, you know, she's probably around the age where she's losing teeth anyway. Yeah. Mm. And I'm actually gonna do something different with her hairstyle because the character she is named after is blonde. So obviously I don't want to make them look way too similar. So instead, I'm gonna... make her a ginger. This is going to be the same hair color as her dad. It's also the color of pumpkin, which can be made into soup. But she still gets the brown eyes. Let me add this teeth color. But yeah. But yeah. Actually, I'll give her this color for her pants. And bam! And let me... And here we go! And now, most of Fennel's family has been designed. So, yeah. So... This is currently who we have. We have Vanessa, Blossom, Leaf, Shauna, and Lisa. The two who have yet to be put in here are, of course, Keaton and Fennel. And of course I need to kind of like modify Blossom's design a little bit. Cause her legs look a little too stubby. But yeah, that is the four siblings of Fennel, who were given a preliminary design. I will probably add changes in the future to them, like especially for Leaf. And then I'll make sure I make a design for Keaton. And yeah, I think I'm gonna end stream early for y'all, so I can do some of the things I plan on doing today, like what I plan on doing before Thanksgiving and Christmas and stuff. So yeah, I didn't get everything I wanted to do done, but at least the stream for today is over, and I'll be streaming tomorrow. And of course I will be spending time working on assignments and all that, don't worry. I'm not dedicating all my time to just streaming and preparing for my streams. Like, that would be irresponsible of me, you know? Like, I can't really have all my time dedicated to streaming when I have a bunch of assignments still will do and all that. That would be irresponsible. But yeah. The siblings and the mom have all been designed. I'll figure out how to like... I'll figure out how I'm gonna do her... I'll figure out how I'm gonna design Fennel's dad. I'll have to figure that out in the future. But the next art stream is going to be next week, which is going to be me figuring out how I'm going to do my 2.1 model update. But yeah, I'm gonna end stream now because I don't really feel like doing any more drawing today. I'll be seeing y'all on Monday, which is tomorrow in my time zone. Depending on your time zone, it might be Tuesday. But I'll be seeing y'all later.